I did not tell half of what I saw, for I knew I would not be believed. Marco Polo, on his deathbed, 1324.
What's going on? That's my blood. That's my blood. It's a lot of my blood.
Welcome, my name is Tucker, and today we're looking over Uncharted 2 Among Thieves. And this is one of my favorite Uncharted games. Anyways, if you're seeing this, please hit the subscribe button. I'm trying to hit 160 subscribers, and if I do, I will get the platinum on Peppa Pig. I'm not joking. Anyways, let's just start the video off. Welcome to Chapter 1, A Rock in a Hard Place. This chapter opens up with Nathan Drake on a train with a gunshot wound. He realizes he's hanging off a mountain. Before he could do anything about it, he falls all the way down. Finally, we get to play as Nathan Drake. Landing at the bottom of the train, we have to climb up the train while it's falling apart and rocks above us are falling below. Nate climbs up a few more things, has some near-death experiences, and then when he finally gets near the top, he realizes that the train cart is slowly falling off the mountain. Nate acts quickly. He goes to that next train cart, but as soon as he gets on, it's fallen. He tries to run, but it makes no difference, as eventually the train cart falls off. So he decides to jump off, and he's able to grab the mountain before he falls down, but he's able to grab another ledge. He pulls himself up, and then passes out. Before we're then greeted with the flashback. Nathan Drake is at a bar on a beach, drinking some booze, before a partner of his, Harry Flynn, meets up with them. They meet, but then Flynn tells them that they have a job, of a client that's going to pay them a lot. But that job is stealing something from one of the most high, secure museums in the world that's meant for Marco Polo. At first, Nathan Drake is out exclaiming that people have died trying to steal stuff in there. And Drake tells them that it's a three-person job, and the third person comes in, Chloe Fraser. Nathan Drake has never met this person, but it is Harry Flynn's love, and she is one of the best drivers in the business. Nate is so far invested in it, so Flynn decides to show her a plan. There's a sewer right under it, and there's a hole that takes him right to the courtyard. And then Flynn shows Drake what they're getting after, an Mongolian oil lamp. Drake says it's worthless, and Harry and Chloe don't know why the collector wants an oil lamp, so they track down Drake to get it and understand why they would want it. But Harry pulls out something that's also from the client, a letter from Marco Polo. Here's Drake reading it.
Borrowed it from the files of the nutcase.
In Trebizond, we were set upon by thieves. Father, Maffeo, and I were robbed of our greatest treasures. This was written by Marco Polo.
Yes, that much we were able to work out.
Unfortunately, the rest of it's nonsense.
Hey, hold on. So that it should not fall into the wrong hands, I concealed my great sorrow in the unlikeliest place. The light of the great Khan shelters the fate of the 13.
If you don't catch what Marco Polo is saying, he's talking about his 13 lost fleet. Basically, Marco Polo leaves China to go to Persia. What he brings along with him is 14 ships, 600 passengers, and treasure from Kublai Khan. Now when he gets to Persia, there is a problem. Only one ship arrives, and there's only 18 passengers, and the 13 other ships are gone. No one knows what happened to them. Thing is, Marco Polo got a diary and journaled everything that happened on the trip over a year and a half, but he never touched up on what happened to the other ships. And here's where Drake realizes why the client was the oil lamp. The oil lamp is in Mongolian script. This is a gift from Kublai Khan, which was in the treasure from the lost fleet. Marco Polo hid something in it, and that's going to lead the way for all the treasure from the 13 lost ships. So they decide, after learning this knowledge, to screw over the client and not get him what he wants. They're going to go after the treasure themselves. So Drake decides to finally do the job with them. And then Drake wakes up. There's nowhere else to go, so he decides to go deeper into the wreckage. So Nate climbs through the wreckage and gets on another train cart. As he's climbing up, however, another train cart explodes, flinging him back into the same train cart, but also having another train cart crash into him, giving him another flashback. This flashback shows Drake in his own apartment or hotel, and then Chloe knocks on the door. Nathan Drake pushes her in. Nate questions her with what's going on with Flynn. Obviously, something has gone down with the three of them, as Chloe mentions who walked out on whom, mentioning that Drake walked out on them. And Chloe says that their love life, Flynn and Chloe's love life, are only professional and not actual love. So what she wants to do is get the treasure with Drake, with Flynn too, and then her and Drake disappear together this time. And Drake wakes up from the flashback and has to do the usual, climb on more stuff above a giant hole. Only 100-foot drop, probably even more. Anyways, Drake makes it to the dagger. Well, a dagger. We don't know what it is yet, though. But then Drake has another flashback. Welcome to Chapter 2, Breaking and Entering. This chapter is 4 months before the Chapter 1, in Istanbul. Anyways, this chapter is, the robbery of the museum. And on their way to the sewer, they talk about what will happen if they get caught. They'll get thrown into a jail cell and the key will be thrown out, according to Flynn. Anyways, they make it there and, cut through the sewer and walk around until they finally get to where they need to be. Nathan and Flynn are going to be together while Chloe is going to go a different way. She's going to be in the van waiting for them, and she's also going to cut the power so they can get into the building they need to get into. And you know the deal. They climb a little bit more, and they finally make it to this room where there's seemingly no exit to the courtyard until they look up. And here's a joke.
Boiler room. And from there, we're in. Yeah, in like Flynn, right? What? In like Flynn. I don't get it. Just give me a boost.
Isn't it awesome and funny? Anyways, I meant to say boiler room earlier. So they enter the boiler room, do some climbing, other shenanigans, so they finally make it to the courtyard. Now, there's not a lot of talk about this chapter, as it mainly just consists of fighting or beating up the museum guards and climbing, till this happens. What happens is that they're in this room, and there are 4 guards. Now, you can't take them out stealthily because they're all looking at each other. So Flynn pulls out some guns, tranquilizers, by the way, and they take him out. And they do more climbing, and Nate almost dies here. See, he gets on the gunner and he falls. They finally get to the building, but the lights are still on until Chloe is able to turn them off. So they sneak in and steal the oil lamp. So they decide to break it to make sure it's the real one. But all it reveals is a couple of blue stones, which is resin, and an empty map, until Nate realizes that you can actually light the resin, revealing what's on the map. And here's what's on the map.
Let me see that. Our ships were driven by a great flood tide into the wilds of Java.
Sounds like they were hit by a tsunami.
Yeah, somewhere off the west coast of Borneo.
Oh, great. That narrows it down a bit.
Look, this mountain must have been the closest landmark where they went aground. We find that mountain. We find the ships.
Yeah, good work, mate.
Wait, there's more. Okay, Joe. As if the ocean itself sought to throw off the terrible cargo we carried from Shambhala. The curse of the Chintamani.
Now, what is Shambhala and the Chintamani? The Chintamani stone is like the stone of life in the Shambhala. And Shambhala is also another name for Shangri-La, like a city of just peace, life, that's the perfect life and city to be in. And since there was a curse of the Chintamani stone, Marco Polo found Shambhala and was carrying the stone in his ships, but they decide to leave as they're running out of time. So Nate cleans up his mess, but Flynn is pulling up the rope, and Flynn betrays him, saying he was working with his client all along, and that he had a plan to overthrow Nate. All he wanted was Nate out of the way. He basically knew everything from the start. All he needed was just Nate gone. Now Nate is on the run, runs out of the building and into the sewers, and he finds a little ladder out, climbs up, but there are security guards and he's thrown into jail. And so 3 months pass, and finally Sully bails him out. If you somehow don't know Sully, he is Nathan's father figure. But then Chloe comes in, and Nathan thinks that her and Flynn were connected in all of this, and that she helped Flynn get Nathan in jail. So obviously, he's not listening to her, until Chloe reveals that Flynn and Lazarevich, the client that he's been working with, have found the ships in Borneo, but they haven't actually found the Chintamani stone. So now Nate is in on this and is gonna work with them. Now they get to this place and they talk about the Chintamani stone. They have pulled up a few Marco Polo's documents, and it's a thing in Shambhala that is about bigger than an arm's length. It's a sapphire, deepest of blue. It's the most precious thing of the world. It's worth hundreds and hundreds of millions. They need more information on where Shambhala is. You see, Lazarevich has been paying top dollar for all of Marco Polo's documents, yet they're in the middle of the camp in his tent, so they need a distraction. A big explosive. Now, Chloe here actually works with Lazarevich, so it's going to be an inside job. Welcome to Chapter 3. Borneo. Nate and Sully have finally made it to Borneo, and their job is to arm all the charges. There are 5 charges, but the problem is that there are camps and guards everywhere. So this chapter mainly consists of doing that and taking down guards and jumping around, and many funny jokes along the way, such as these two.
You got a great ass, Sully.
Thanks. There you go, kid.
I'm sweating like a hooker in church.
You brought a hooker to church?
Why not?
Nate and Sully do get attacked, but they do end up surviving. And that brings us to Chapter 4, The Dig. This chapter mainly consists of killing people, finding Marco Polo's crew, and his journals. And here Nate and Sully get to Lazarevich's main camp where he has all of Marco Polo's journal. And here we get to see how brutal Lazarevich really is. His real name is Zoran Lazarevich. He has Flynn working with them, and he yells at him because for 3 months they have not been able to find any signs of Marco Polo's crew. And then somebody is stealing from them, and just watch this.
Not stealing artifacts from site number 5.
You would betray me for this?
No, Zoran, I can't explain.
No need. I am surrounded by traitors and fools!
What do you say we really ruin this guy's day?
And right after this, Sully decides to ruin Lazarevich's day by blowing up the camp. And while reading the journals, we realize that Marco Polo never had the Chintamani stone. Instead, it's still back in Shambhala, and they had something else that they believe is cursing them and getting them the tsunami they have. So if Zoran is reading this correctly, what is he looking for? He's trying to pick up the trail from Marco Polo to get to Shambhala. He's trying to get the Chintamani stone. That's what he's after. And here's when Nate realizes where the camp is, where Marco Polo rested. Where would you go if there was a tsunami? You would go up high. So Marco Polo went up in the mountains, up high. So Nate decides to schedule with Chloe and Sully to get up there. But then backup arrives and they have to take him out. And Sully has a sniper, so Nate and him are working together to take these guys out, while Sully kills them and directs where Nate has to watch out for. But then there's a turret, which Nate throws a grenade in, taking them out, and all the reinforcements are gone. except for this dude, but here he goes, down, cold. Here Nate and Sully get to the top of the mountain, and then Chloe arrives with them. And Nate was right. Marco Polo's rescue crew is here, but there's something wrong with the bodies. All of them strangely have black teeth, and that's a mystery unsolved. But in another room they find resin, the same one that was in the Mongolian oil lamp. They decide to light it, and what they see is a trail of blood. And it looks like to Nate that they all slaughtered each other. But after following the trail, they find a body holding a case. Nate jokes here, scaring everybody.
Christ almighty.
Just kidding.
Nate, you're gonna give me a goddamn heart attack.
After that scare, they obviously open a heater, and what's in it is the Purba dagger. That's a Tibetan thing that wards off, or is a key to like get rid of evil spirits in Tibet. It's a ritual type thing. This was the same dagger that Nate picked up in chapter 1, and Nate believes that this is what Marco Polo was talking about, the cursed object. And this object is also believed to be the golden passport to enter Shambhala. Anyways, they open the map and see that there is a temple in Nepal. There are a lot of them, and there's one temple that leads, or has a map or something that leads them to Shambhala. But they all have to start going pretty quick. But as they're exiting, Chloe seemingly decides to betray them, and she's not. Anyways, Flynn enters the room, and here's a very funny joke.
That's pretty ballsy for a guy who spent the last 3 months behind bars.
Better than pissing away 3 months in the jungle without a clue.
Found the ships though, didn't I?
You couldn't find your own ass with both hands.
And a map.
This game is just hilarious sometimes. Anyways, Chloe pulls a map out of Drake's pocket and hands it to Flynn. Flynn attempts to read it, but he's really bad at it. So he just escorts the map with Chloe. But remember what I said about Chloe betraying them? She never did. She was just, having their back, But anyways, Sully and Nate need to get out of there before Flynn comes back. And so they run away, they die a couple times, have people shooting at them. But here's where they come to a dead end. Nate suggests to jump, but Sully does not want to, saying they'll break their necks. But Flynn is closing in on them, and they have to do something. Sully says that he's too old for this, and that he wants out. He doesn't have Nate's luck, and man's gotta know when he's gotta know when to get out, But as Flynn is closing in on them, they decide to jump, and somehow survive. I still don't know how, but they did. But we enter chapter 5, Urban Warfare. This chapter opens up with Nathan Drake on a jeep in Nepal, talking to Chloe about what's going on. And what's going on is that this city is on the brink of civil war, and all Lazarevich did was just light the fire and start it. So he has cover to destroy the whole city with Flynn looking for the right temple. And so Chloe and him decide to meet up in the old market before Nate does get ambushed by some dudes on a truck and end up ramming into him. And then Nate crawls out of the wreckage, but then the truck shows up again trying to run him over. But Nate succeeds in destroying the truck. On his way to the old market, he has to kill a few people and do some climbing, falling through floors and the usual. But here's when we realize just how crazy Lazarevich is. He has helicopters attached with guns. Well, anyways, he gets to this section where there's a turret mounted to a truck and some people. He can't take out the turret, but somebody else does. And it was none other than Chloe with RPG. But here a problem arises. Nathan Drake doesn't know which temple the secret passage to Shambhala is, until he realizes that all the temples are marked with something. And on the Tibetan ritual dagger, there is a mark indicating which temple it is. But there's so many that he can't see them. He has to go up to a high vantage point, which is the hotel. On their way there, they do the usual, like killing people, climbing. Now, welcome to Chapter 6, Desperate Times. Here we are at this big base camp where a lot of men are, and the resistance are trying to fight them back. But they fail miserably. But they do have a plan on how to get these guys out of here and kill them. which does end up being successful. So they get to the hotel, but as they're getting to the top, the elevator gets stuck and Chloe gets trapped inside. And the power is out, so now Nate has to scale the building and get to the power thing. But on his way, there are people, which is terrible. But after climbing and killing people, he finally gets to the power and frees Chloe. Now they're at like the top floor, so they just have to get up this fire exit. And they get to the top. Chloe and Nathan are scouting for the temples and they finally find it. Problem is, it's in the middle of all the gunfire and explosions. And Lazarevich on the radio tells them that Nate has been spotted in Sector 18 and now the chopper is after them. They flee to another building, but it doesn't last that long, as the chopper tears down the whole building. But they did end up escaping it. But the chopper comes back and Nate has to take it down, and he's successful doing so. So Nate and Chloe go across some rooftops so they get to the zip line, but Nate ends up breaking it and falls all the way down. It's pretty painful to watch. But he starts climbing to the other side of the building. And as Nate turns the corner, he finds Elena. They're here for Lazarevich because apparently NATO thinks Lazarevich is dead in a bombing raid, and they're trying to prove otherwise. And the relationship isn't that healthy. Also, the other guy is Jeff. Apparently, somewhere in between Uncharted 1 and 2, they decided to break up, and Nate was not really happy with it. Nate ends up lying to her about not having any connections to Lazarevich, but then Chloe comes down, revealing the truth. Obviously, Elena is not happy with this. And Chloe and Nate talk about how Nate's heart got broken. But Nate tells her that they're bringing Elena and Jeff with her, and Chloe is not happy with this as they're just gonna slow them down. And even Elena adds on that they don't need Nathan's heroics. But they quickly change that decision as another helicopter is coming. That brings us to Chapter 7. They're coming with us. This chapter opens up with them fighting with some guys, but then they're presented with an issue. As you saw, they have to get across to the other side, but there's no way. So Nate comes up with a solution to blow up the cars. But right after that, there's more enemies, and they have a turret this time. But Nate ends up killing them all and gets control of the turret, but then there's more guys that are cornering the others, so he uses the turret. But as they're climbing, they see some resistance fighters, and they're not having a good time. They realize that Lazarevich has so much money that he also has tanks. And then they finally reach the temple. And as we get here, Nate and Elena talk about what Nate's really after. He tells her about the Chintamani stone and Shambhala, and here's a joke.
So let me get this straight. You're competing with a psychopathic war criminal for a mythological gemstone?
When you put it that way, it does sound pretty stupid. Yeah, thanks for the input, Jeff.
Jeff, what a guy. And Chloe, anyways, she wants Nate to come talk to them in private, but another one of the choppers come, and they have to get inside. And here, Elena says one more thing. The sapphire of the Chintamani stone is worth millions. But the problem is, Lazarevich has so much money, so what is he after? That's what's missing. But Nate and Chloe decide to leave them in the room. And now we're in Chapter 8, The City Secret. In this chapter, Nate and Chloe have to rearrange the statue, and doing so, opens up this keyhole for the dagger. And Nate puts it in, and it opens a secret entrance. So they go through it, they have to climb some stuff, and the usual. But as they're going through this hallway to enter the next room, they fall through this trap. And they need to get out of there fast because there are spikes and the ceiling is coming down to destroy them. So Nate thinks of a way and destroys the gear. And that brings us to Chapter 9, Path of Light. In this chapter, there's a purple dagger, but it went up, and now we have to make it come down, opening another entrance. Nate has to point these lights at the faces, and that opens a keyhole for the dagger. And doing that brings down one of the sides for the purple dagger, the huge one. After doing that a couple more times, a near-death experience, they open it up, revealing another room. Nate and Chloe get down there, and they put the dagger in the keyhole, and what happens next is that these rocks take shape of where Shambhala is, and it's in the Himalayas. And now Nate brings out a map and writes down where it is. Before too long, after finding where it is, the Lazarevich men come in, and they have to take him out. And now we're at Chapter 10, Only Way Out. This chapter just features Nathan just killing a lot of people. After killing dozens of people, they make it to Jeff and Elena. Jeff has sadly been shot though, and Chloe wants to leave Jeff, but Nate decides to be a hero and holds Jeff and walks him through and helps him, saves him. Bringing us to chapter 11, Keep Moving. In this chapter, a bunch of Lazarevich men are cornering Nate while he's holding Jeff and walking him through and killing more people. But after getting so far, they make it to this room, and there's a jump that Jeff is not gonna make. All Chloe wants to do is leave Jeff, because he's not gonna make it, so she decides to betray him, quote unquote. But that's when Flynn arrives. Flynn now knows the secret with Chloe, and decides to escort her to the train yard. But then we meet face to face with Lazarevich for the first time. Lazarevich takes the perma-dagger and gives it to his lieutenant. And then he notices Jeff, and decides to sadly kill him. Now Nate makes a bargain. He will reveal where Shambhala is if they let Elena go. But Lazarevich does end up realizing who Elena is, the reporter who's been biting at his heels. Lazarevich makes Flynn check Nate, and Flynn pulls out the map, and now they know where Shambhala is. So now, Nate has nothing to bargain with. And Lazarevich leaves the room, heading to go to the train yard. But Nate and Elena decide to escape. Elena punches Flynn in the nose, breaking it, and now they have to run as Lazarevich men are now killing him. They have no guns, so this is pretty bad. But they end up making it. And now Elena questions, what are they going to do? Nate wants to go to the train yard. That's where Lazarevich is going to be. He is going to save Chloe, because now that Flynn knows who Chloe truly is, if Lazarevich realizes what Chloe is doing, Lazarevich is going to kill her. Now Nate wants to do this alone. He also apologizes to Elena for bringing her into this, but she knew what the stakes were, her and Jeff knew. But anyways, they argue a bit about wanting to save Chloe, and Elena decides to go with them, and it's past the water tower. And now we're at chapter 12, the train to catch. This chapter we have no guns, so we have to take out this group of enemies with no guns. But we do get an enemy, or gun, from the first enemy. But after clearing them out, Elena gets a gun of her own, and we have to climb up this fire exit. But we reach these doors that are blocked, so we have to climb on these signs and lampposts and shoot the boards off. But then we're surrounded by Lazarevich men, and I mean surrounded. They're in front of us, they're behind us, they're to the right, they're everywhere. But we end up surviving and making it to the water tower. So here, we have to make a new plan. Plan B. Basically, this plan involves Elena getting a 4x4. We see Flynn escorting Chloe to the front of the train. And we're gonna sneak onto the train, get Chloe, and Elena's gonna have her 4x4 to rescue us. And so Elena and Nate split paths as Nate goes down the zip line. After going inside the building, we found this old train, and Nathan Drake activates it. But he didn't really think this through as he crashes, and now he's gonna need plan C. And then a bunch of enemies corner us, and the train starts leaving. But soon Tweedledee and Tweedledum come, and we cannot take them out. But thankfully, Elena has our back and arrives just in time. And now we're on plan C. This plan involves Elena driving us right next to the train so that Nate can jump off. Problem is, we don't have a plan to get Chloe off the train, so we'll just come up with it as we go. But anyways, after that, Nate gets on Elena's 4x4 and tells her his plan. She doesn't agree with it at first, but she does it anyways. And soon we make a jump for it onto the train, leaving Elena behind. And now we're at chapter 13, Locomotion. This chapter involves us at the end of the train making our way up. Whilst we have to kill guards and climb and watch out for guard things. But soon the chopper comes back and we have no way to defend ourselves, so we have to run. More enemies try to stop us, but eventually we get to this red door and we have to open it and get away from this helicopter as fast as we can. But as soon as we jump onto this thing, the chopper blows up that part, and since Newton has laws, that part is staying in motion and coming right at us. But the tunnel stops it from hitting us. And now the chopper is gone too, and we're at chapter 14, Tunnel Vision. And basically we do the same thing we did in chapter 13. Kill enemies, you know? But eventually Lazarevich Lieutenant, who has the Purba Dagger, orders more men to come at us. And we are now in the mountains. But anyways, after killing all those men, the lieutenant orders this dude. But the problem is that he's on a bunch of logs that are strapped. So all we have to do is shoot the straps and break them. And this by far is probably one of my favorite kills. Anyways, the attack chopper comes back, and we found a tank, so we're going to use that to destroy it. But now we're going to have our mini boss with the lieutenant. And make sure you bring the right weapons, unlike I did during my brutal playthrough, which is coming out sometime this month. So like bring, like assault rifle and the pistol. But anyways, this fight's pretty easy. All we have to do is get rid of Lieutenant's helmet, and once we can do that, we can actually do a beatdown on him. Make sure and watch out when he charges at you and throws grenades at you. But anyways, after beating him, we finally get the Purba Dagger back. But the dude isn't dead quite yet and is strangling us, but Chloe ends up saving us. Now Nate is happy to see Chloe, but Chloe is not happy to see Nate. All she wanted from Nate was to have her back. She wanted Nate to justify her decisions about leaving Jeff. She did not ever want Nate to save her. She orders him off the train, but as soon as she's walking away, Flynn shoots Nate in the stomach. Nate tries running off while Flynn is shooting at him and ordering his men to get him. Nate gets on another train cart and they're at propane, so he decides to shoot it, derailing the train. Now we're in chapter 15, Trainwreck. This chapter we basically replay chapter 1, but there is some new dialogue about Nate regretting his decisions about saving Chloe. The only difference is that Lazarevich men show up, and we have to take them out. But we do so pretty quickly, leaving us to wander in the cold. We eventually collapse, but we see somebody in the distance. But we can't go for much longer as we end up collapsing, and that strange man happens to bring us into his village, in Tibet. The strange man that saved us is named Tenzin. He's just the best, and we're in his village. Now, what I can interpret right now is that he's trying to take us somewhere, and he gives us a jacket. And he and us walk through the town until we reach his house. And somehow Elena's here. Elena asks what happened at the wreckage, and Nate says that Chloe isn't as exactly the saving type, and that Flynn gave him a gunshot. Elena tells him that someone wants to meet him. His name is Schaefer. He tells us how he got here the same way that Nate did. Also, if you look in the scrapbook real closely, it looks like him and Nate have the same jacket. And the way Schaefer got here is just the same as Nathan Drake, to find where Shambhala is in the Chintamani stone. And he tells Nate, or asks him, where he got the Purba Dagger. Nate tells him that he got it in Borneo. Schaefer tells him that this is the key to Shambhala, and this is what his opponent needs. But Nate wants out of this. He nearly died hanging off a mountain in a train. He doesn't want to do this. Until, well, Schaefer tells him why Lazarevich wants the Chintamani stone. Genghis Khan and all the other powerful leaders had a little bit of the Chintamani stone, making them so powerful. Lazarevich is after more power. He wants to be the most powerful man in the world with that whole stone in his possession. Nate still doesn't want to do it because he thinks that Shambhala is a myth. So, Schaefer tells Tenzin and him to go in the mountains and look for Schaefer's old expedition for proof that Shambhala does exist. Nate and Tenzin get there, and now we're at chapter 17, Mountaineering. This chapter is simple. All we did was climb. That's all you do. So you reach this section. Now this isn't what Schaefer meant. Also keep in mind about the wolves, those will be important later. But anyways, we do some more climbing, till we find one of Schaefer's men. This is the only man we come across in this chapter, so we have to keep going further. After some climbing, we see the same wolves we saw just minutes earlier, clawed to death. They're dead, ripped open, eaten by something. Later we see who did that. Those things are called guardians, and they don't like trespassers, so they intend of scaring them off. Then us and Tenzin get into a brawl with the thing. We shoot it, Tenzin does some stuff, and it finally goes away. Now we're at Chapter 18, Heart of Ice. This chapter mainly consists of climbing. Literally, everything on Nate's side obviously breaks, so we have to climb so much till we reach this section. We finally reunite with Tenzin, and then a bunch of platforms come out of the water. The statue turns around and has an entirely new face, resembling something horrific, probably showing how dangerous the Kintamani is. Anyways, we blindly run across the platform until we make it to this room. Nate and Tenzin get trapped in the room, but Tenzin finds Schaefer's expedition. And Nate realizes after picking up a book and a tin of resin that these guys were Nazis. And he also noticed that they all have bullet holes in their head, telling them that Schaefer killed them to stop them from getting powerful. But then a crap ton of Guardians come out of nowhere, and they have to fend off. Obviously, they can't kill them, but instead escape and realize that their town is engulfed in flames. We get back to the village and we meet up with Elena. Schaefer is gone, and Tenzin's little daughter is with him, so that's a problem. We also learn that this is all of Lazarevich's doing. But anyways, we enter Chapter 19, Siege. This chapter, all it is just killing, that's all it is. Until we get to this building where we see Schaefer and he's got Tenzin's daughter. But then a tank points directly at us and we have to jump as it fires at us. Entering Chapter 20, Cat and Mouse. Now this chapter mainly just consists of killing people and trying to find Schaefer and evading the tank. Until we get to this section, where we actually have to fight back and destroy the tank. That was too easy, the driver is drunk anyways, just like Nathan said.
Go!
Drunk?
But anyways, Lazarevich has left in a convoy with Schaefer. We do end up saving Tenzin's little daughter, and she points the direction with where they go. Elena and Nate decide to hop in a car and chase them down. Entering Chapter 21, Convoy. All we do is destroy trucks, cars, and people. And I also want to show this cutscene because I don't understand how Nate and Elena survived this.
There's no way they survived that. Let's go.
Come on.
Still don't know how they survived that, but anyways, we enter Chapter 22, Monastery. And in this chapter, we're trying to find Schaefer. Anyways, we kill people, we climb, we see Schaefer occasionally. We cross rickety old bridges, we actually get in and kill more people until we finally get to here. Anyways, these guys are trying to ambush us and we're just trying to find Schaefer. Entering Chapter 23, Reunion. But we're just way too good and we get past them and we find Schaefer. He asked whether or not we found his expedition and if he understands why Schaefer did what he did. But anyways, he asked us to take down Lazarevich and find Shambhala and destroy the Chintamani stone. And he sadly dies. But anyways, me and Elena decide to split up. Nate's going after the tower and for the Herba dagger, while Elena's scoping out the secret entrance. We do some more climbing, killing, and we do see those beasts again, but they're not a problem. But anyways, we make it to this tower and we overhear a conversation between Chloe, Flynn, and Lazarevich. Lazarevich is angry about Flynn and frustrated with his incompetence because he does not have any more time and he needs to find the secret entrance now. They do give us some information that there's something in this room that's going to tell them where it is. Flynn decides to leave Chloe, and then we come down and take the dagger from her, and she leaves. But anyways, we have to do a puzzle. It's pretty easy, color matching some shapes and letters and all of that. Well, anyways, we get to see where we have to go for the secret entrance. We tell Elena where to meet up, and we meet up there. On our way, we have to kill some dudes, but we end up winning and opening the secret entrance. Out comes water, and it floods the monastery, or like, you know what I mean, in the sea. But anyways, we get to see where the secret entrance to Shambhala is. Thus, we are now at chapter 24, Road to Shambhala. We do another short little puzzle, but anyways, this globe thing opens. We try to put resin in there, but Lazarevich man is coming. We take one hostage, but Lazarevich doesn't care and shoots the guy we took hostage. And then we try to negotiate, but he gets mad, takes our guns away, and holds us hostage. And then he realizes that Chloe was on our team, and he adds her on the list. Anyways, we open up the freaking door, and we realize that us and Flynn are gonna have to fix this bridge, so we do. We do a bit of climbing and some funny lines.
Statue of your mom.
Oh look, it's a life-size statue of your ego.
Anyways, we have to move these cylinder things, but then these beasts come out. Lazarevich kills them for us, and we open the Shambhala path. There it is. But then we're ambushed by more guardians, except these guys have crossbows and they aren't in their bear costume. And we escape. Entering chapter 25, Broken Paradise. Right now, me, Chloe, and Elena have just run away from the Guardians and Lazarevich men. We got onto this platform, but some rocket launcher dude got attacked by a Guardian, and allowing him to accidentally fire a rocket launcher, exploding this beam, and now we're going down. Don't know why the quality was so bad back there, but anyways, now we're here. This dude just got impaled, and we want to get out here as fast as possible. But anyways, we get here. There are a bunch of bodies that are decayed, and they have black teeth as well. Chloe wants to get out of here, but me and Elena don't want to. We want to destroy the Chintamani stone like Schaefer wanted, and stop Lazarevich. Chloe argues about it and says that we're going to end up just like the group that is dead upon us. But we decide to do it anyways, and then more Guardians come out, and we kill them. Anyways, we come along some sap, and we decide to use a gun on it, and it explodes, surprising everybody. But anyways, we move on to this place, but then more of Lazarevich's men come up. We deal with those guys, and then the Guardians come, and we kill them too. Anyways, we go up these steps to the temple because that's where the Chintamani stone is. Anyways, we make it here, and there's a three-way battle. Us versus the Guardians and Lazarevich, Lazarevich versus us and the Guardians. Anyways, we destroy them though. And anyways, we make it up the stairs for the Chintamani stone. Problem is, Mark Paul had it wrong. The Chintamani stone isn't sapphire, but fossilized resin. We realized that the reason people had black teeth and why they're guardians is because they ate the resin. It changed them into whatever they are now. We noticed Lazarevich is down another tree. The real tree of life that has immortal sap that Lazarevich is going to drink. Anyways, Flynn comes out of the shadows to reveal himself. He's all beaten up and destroyed because of Lazarevich. Lazarevich obviously wants dead. Elena tries to reform him, but Flynn pulls out a grenade and explodes it, almost killing Elena. While Chloe has Elena, we have to fight off the last wave of enemies. We end up being successful. When we get there, Nate asks Chloe to take Elena out of here because Nate is going to test his luck and try to fight Lazarevich. Entering chapter 26, Tree of Life, the final chapter. Anyways, we make it down here, but we're too late. Lazarevich already had a little bit of the sap and now is immortal. He somehow is able to sense us and reveal ourselves. We try shooting at him, but realize it does nothing. We shoot the sap and it blows everybody up. The others are dead, but somehow he isn't. Entering boss fight mode. The boss fight's pretty easy. Lazarevich will chase you around with a shotgun and occasionally throw grenades at you. All you need to do is get him near some sap, shoot that sap, and that will damage it. Doing that enough times will eventually kill him. So the boss fight's over. We talk to Lazarevich for a little bit, and he tells us that we're both the same. We both kill just as many people. We're both monsters. We have no compassion, no mercy. And he wants Drake to kill him. We don't have the will to, but the Guardians do. Lazarevich freaks out and now is dead to the Guardians. We escape, but now this whole place is falling apart. We're running along the bridge until we get to the end. We see Chloe with Elena, but there's a Guardian that's alive. The Guardian gets her, and now we're both sliding down while the Guardian's on Chloe. We shoot that Guardian, and Chloe's able to save us, and we get out of there. Now let's enjoy this final cutscene.
Come on, we gotta get her out of here. Up we go.
Come on, Sunshine. What the hell did you do back there?
Oh, you know, save the world. You got her? Damn it, we gotta move faster. Here. Let's go.
Oh no.
Lena. Oh, God, no. Lena, hold on, all right? Just hold on. Come on, stay with us. You're gonna be okay, all right? You're gonna be fine. You're gonna be just fine. Elena, don't do this. Elena!
트랙라 셰프 켜나라 가부치 그래.
두지체.
So, it's been a long, strange trip, hasn't it?
Yes, it has. You know, you should play the hero more often. Suits you.
Nah. Tell me something, Nate.
What?
Do you love her?
Chloe, I'm sorry.
No, it's fine. Really, it's all right. Just do yourself a favor, cowboy. Tell her.
Chloe.
No. My turn to walk away. But admit it. You're gonna miss this ass.
Well, look who's not supposed to be out of bed.
Yeah, he's a lousy patient. Stubborn as all hell.
I'm not stubborn, I'm just restless.
So, no giant sapphire.
Once again, no.
And you're sure of that?
Yes.
Just a metaphor, I'm afraid.
Metaphor ain't gonna pay your bills, kid.
Well, something else will come along. Just gotta have faith.
Yeah. That and a quarter will get you 25 cents. Which way'd Chloe go? See you later.
Oh, no.
You're a dirty old man, Sullivan.
Uh-huh.
You did good, Nate. I think he'd approve.
Yeah?
Mm-hmm. So where do we go from here, huh?
I don't know. I haven't thought that far ahead.
Of course not. But then again, neither have I.
Good.
So, on a scale of 1 to 10, how scared were you that I was gonna die?
4.
4?
Yeah, why?
A 4.
Yeah.
You were at least an 8.
An 8?
You were a total 8.
An 8? Those Guardian things were an 8.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah, those were terrifying.
What's a 10?
Clowns?
Clowns over my death?
I hate clowns. I hate clowns.
Oh, my word. You thought I was dead.
No.
No, you thought I was gone.
No,
Yes,
no.
you did.
No, I
saw
had you all
shed
along.
tears. You shed a bunch of them.
Tears?
Mhm.
It was raining.
No, it was not.
You were unconscious and it was
It
raining.
was totally sunny out and you were bawling.
It wasn't sunny. You were unconscious.
Whatever. I kept your tears in a jar. I have proof.
I'll give you 5. How's that?
Hey, if you enjoyed that video, please subscribe. This video took a lot longer than expected. Anyways, you should play this game if you find this video interesting, and hopefully you learn something from this game, maybe a little bit more. Anyways, thank you guys for watching this whole thing to the end. I know it was long, but I hope you guys like Uncharted 2 and will subscribe.